Hi guys, Dan Hendrickson here at Torquay Golf Club, hashtag Ask Dan. I've got a little head-to-head for you today. I've got two beautiful looking irons. I've got a Ping Blueprint iron. It's the forged blade that's just been released by Ping, which I'm very excited to have a little go with. Not actually hit it myself before, so this should be quite a nice one. And then I want to put it up against the Cobra King forged MB iron. Again, an absolutely stunning looking club. It's very stealth looking, this particular one. Black head moving into a black shaft. This should be quite an interesting one. Very similar in profiles from what I can see first glances of these two clubs. So let's hit a couple of shots. Let's get some numbers for you, give you some feedback on what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, and report it into you. Let's hit some balls. So we'll start off with the Ping. Beautiful looking head. It's quite kind of square in its profile looking down. It's not particularly rounded. It's quite a small blade length as well. It looks really quite small when you put it down. There's not a lot of kind of real estate for you to be working with here. Feels quite firm, so it's quite a hard feel. It's not like a soft sort of buttery feel that I would get from some blades. This one's starting to feel a little bit firmer off the face. Probably not what I was expecting for a first impression. I've got to say, when it comes to offset, there is literally no offset in this club at all. It looks absolutely, that line coming down in from the shaft, it just blends in absolutely superbly. Again, the other thing I really love about the first looks down at this golf ball with this club is that white line down the bottom here. Now Ping have done this with a lot of their clubs moving forward. Got that, just that little white line at the bottom. It just really helps me personally to help me frame up the ball with the club. It really sort of allows me to line that club face up to where I feel like I'm aiming. You know, that's not a deal breaker for me when it comes to choosing a set of clubs, but I definitely do like it when companies do that. Any help I can get when it comes to lining a club up square to where I want it to go is only a positive in my eyes. But I've got to say, first looks down at that golf ball is absolutely beautiful. It's a stunning looking head. And I can see why this is going to have a lot of shop appeal. You know, putting this on a rack in the pro shop, you know, people are going to want to sort of pick this up very, very quickly. It's a beautiful looking head. We've got, what have we got there? We've got that Hydra pearl finish on this particular model again. Again, Ping have been using this for quite a while now. The idea of that is to try and just remove the moisture away from the club face as quick as possible. Again, just to try and help control that spin. As soon as you get moisture between club face and ball, we're going to start to see that spin number potentially start to drop off a little bit. So Ping just trying to do as best they can when it comes to moving that away from the face. You've also got this little insert in here. Can you see that in there? Now I've had the wrench out, having a little look in there, and I cannot get it open. Now the idea is that that is a little weight port to go in there, so they've got some weight going in. Again, they've got a little bit of weight in the heel and the toe just to try and help balance the club up as best as possible. But ultimately, you know, that is absolutely a stunning looking head. And the profile at the top looking down, that very thin top line, it's beautiful. It gets as good as anything I've ever seen from a blade. This is going to be a tough one to beat, I think. So let's put it up against the Cobra King forged MB. Again, very, very similar in the profile size. I would say the head sizes and the blade lengths on these are very, very similar. I think first impressions, to me, the Cobra, it looks a little bit chunkier down in the sort of neck area compared to what the Ping are offering, and it's certainly a little bit more rounded in the profile of the actual head when I look down. I can see a little bit more curvature down the bottom. So for me, looking down, I'm seeing more curvature around here with the Cobra compared to maybe a little bit more of a squarer look in the Ping. So definitely when I look down and look at the neck sizes on these two, I can see that the Cobra is a little bit thicker here compared to the Ping, which is certainly a little bit thinner looking down. First impressions, I think I prefer the kind of more roundedness of the Cobra, but I do prefer that sort of thinner neck looking down into the Ping. Now I've hit this Cobra a few times now. One of my assistants, James, is actually using these irons, so I think they're a beautiful looking set. And I've got to say, the feel of the Cobra just jumps out to me as slightly higher, more higher pitched in its sound, and certainly feeling a little bit softer off the face. Yeah, definitely a softer feel. It's definitely softer off the face compared to what the Ping is. So first impressions, I'm thinking maybe I prefer the feel off the face of the Cobra. I think probably being slightly more traditional, I think I prefer maybe the Hydro Pearl finish over maybe the black finish. I know this looks absolutely stunning with the black sort of right the way through into the shaft, but I think if I had to choose between the two on that look side of it, I think the Ping would win it in the fact that even though I like the black, I think I would prefer to keep the more traditional look for myself. It's definitely feeling more, it's difficult to say, but I'm definitely feeling like this is what I expect to get feedback of a blade, which is definitely when I hit it nicely and more out the centre, I expect it to feel quite soft, whereas with the Ping, certainly feeling firmer off the face. It's not a bad feel, but it's just not quite as good as what the feel is off the Cobra. I'm definitely sensing that I'm getting maybe just a fraction more out of the Ping in yardage than I was with this one here. Now these are both in the same loft. They're both 7 irons and they're both 34 degrees in loft. I'm not expecting to see a big difference in the numbers from distance wise, and I'm not expecting to see numbers changing a great deal in the actual spin numbers. So I've hit a few shots with each club. Let's look at the numbers now and just see what they're doing. Right, let's start off with the Ping to get us going with ball speed 118. Cobra down here at 119, so just a fraction more off the face. If you see there, 90 mile an hour club head speed compared to 90.7, so just getting that little bit slightly faster with the Cobra, but only 0.7 difference. Launching 18.1 to 17.6, so not a great deal in it. Let's look at spin numbers, always a good one. So 6845 average with the Ping compared to 6983, so roughly about 150 revs difference between the two of them. Not a great deal, but there certainly is a little bit there. I would say you could see that the Cobra may be more in the 7s, whereas the Ping maybe just a little bit more in the 6s. If we go to peak heights, let's look at peak height, 33 yards high compared to 33 yards high, so nothing in it from that point of view. And we've got 164 compared to 165. So again, absolutely nothing in it from that. So there you have it, the Blueprint versus the King Forged MB. Not a great deal in it from the numbers. You can see there possibly the MB from Cobra was just fractionally spinning a fraction more than what the Ping was getting, but yardage wise, absolutely nothing in it. Remember, these are 2 7 irons, both at 34 degrees in loft. If you compare that to let's say my set of irons, that's 1 degree difference, so 1 degree stronger than what I'm currently using. But both absolutely stunning looking clubs, probably as good as anything on the market at the moment as far as I'm concerned. When it comes down to the looks, for me personally, I think I prefer the look of the Ping over the Cobra, purely down to a more traditional kind of look with that colour, but also I like that sort of white streak at the bottom of the club, which just helps me sort of line it up a little bit better. but I did like the sort of rounded look of the Cobra. I could see a lot of people kind of wanting that, maybe that black finish over the sort of more traditional sort of, let's say, chromy or metal looking finish. So looking down at the top line of both of these, not seeing anything in that, and I would not expect to see anything in that. I think also the other thing I didn't really talk about with the Cobra compared to the Ping was I was so impressed with the lack of offset in the Ping, but I think the Cobra is just as good from that point of view. You know, some of these clubs can start to look a little bit more offset than others, but both of these sitting in a very, very similar bracket. From an actual profile of the size of the clubs, again, I'm not seeing a great deal in it. I think they're both on the sort of smaller size scale, shall we say, compared to a lot of clubs out on the market, but both very, very similar from that look. Feel, definitely the Cobra for me has it over the Ping. It's not a great deal in it, and I could get used to playing the Ping. I think it would be a beautiful iron still to play, but I'm feeling maybe just a fraction softer off the face in the Cobra than I was over the Ping, so for me that has to be a slight winner. Let me know, have you been out and tested these irons? Are you gaming these irons? These should definitely be at the top of your list. Put your comments down below. Don't forget to keep sending in your questions, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon. #AskDan.